can go ahead and start with your name and your pronouns.
Hi, I'm Abby. My pronouns are she, they.
Okay. Alright, well, the first question is, what are reasons that you think many of KP's members are not interested in activism? What can you do to address these issues?
I feel like the reason why KP members are not really interested is because of how our parents weren't really open about it, and how like growing up, they really wanted us to have like a better opportunity here in the United States. And so like we never really questioned like, oh, what was happening over there in the Philippines. And like, yeah, just they never really had that like open communication, especially how like, you know, it's considered a sensitive topic to our parents and such. But to address it is probably connected to connect the issues from the Philippines to like our own internal struggles as like people, and how I feel like for my position that I'm applying to, I feel like addressing how like, oh, how come, you know, there's a lot of Filipinos, especially in San Diego, like as like it's one of the highest concentration of immigrant Filipinos, as well as, you know, addressing how like to really combat like individualistic tendencies that as Filipinos typically have, and usually use other Filipinos for our own benefit, even though we're supposed to cultivate like a community amongst each other, as well as support other communities as well.
Yeah, quick side question. Are you from San Diego?
Yes,
Oh
I
my
am.
gosh, which part of San Diego?
Southeast, specifically Paradise Hills.
Got it.
Yeah.
Hey, which high school did you go to?
Morse High School.
Yes. I am familiar. Alright, the second question. I was curious. Okay, sorry. Okay, next is many Filipino Americans spaces perpetuate anti-blackness. KP has been criticized as perpetuating anti-blackness. What ways will you educate on anti-blackness so we can unlearn anti-blackness in this space and our culture as a whole? Sorry, I stuttered.
It's okay. I am currently processing. Let me come back. I feel like in a way, for us, since like growing up from like, you know, some Spanish colonialization that was involved, and how like that perpetuated through generations and such. And I think like to combat anti-blackness is by like showing representation in the media of how like, you know, there's always how like there's this athlete that's half Filipino and half black, and how like he represents, you know, the basketball cultural part of the Philippines, and how, you know, he's making a lot of money, he's representing our community, as well as sharing a part of our culture, as well as like you don't have to be necessarily a pillar Filipino to be successful. And another way would be probably just being transparent about how there were so many instances in the Philippine media how they would show blackface and such, and you know, sharing to KP to not do that, and to always, you know, be an ally to the black community as well.
Okay, Well, the next question is, what political issues or issues of justice do you really care about? How will you work to educate the community about these issues and deconstruct those issues? And it doesn't necessarily have to be like Philippine related at all. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Issues. I feel like with the anti-Asian hate, especially during COVID, is something that I really care about because of how, like, you know, through BLM, the Black community was getting harassed and wrongfully arrested and incarcerated, and then when it became, you know, the Asian American community, I felt like, you know, that polarized many Asian Americans to like really speak out about it and having to like repost in the media as well as share their experiences of how they were harassed and violated, and as well as really taking the time to voice our opinions, since that pretty much helped us, you know, see the social injustices as well as like the system in the US, how like, you know, the minority myth and such of how like Asian Americans tend to really follow that and like be seen as like the superior race when in actuality we were just basically assimilated into the idea. And I really care about that, the anti-Asian American hate, or Asian American hate, because like it really has a lot of like historical context behind it, and as well as how through history as Filipinos we weren't really taught about how significant our resistance of history has become, and that has basically shed light on how I really wanted to advocate for Filipinos as well as, you know, marginalized communities and build out solidarity.
Thank you. All right, the next question is, with your knowledge and passion of political and community issues, how would you channel this passion into actual programming events besides the events that you're already in charge of? Pa, Eek. And like, what are other events do you have in mind that you'd like to create?
I would like to collaborate more with the local Filipino organizations outside of campus, especially with Anubayan and Malaya, and how they really share a lot of like history and context, and how like they're willing to share their line of like resistance as well as to the youth, since Filipinos have like such a long history of resistance and that's not really highlighted, especially in like, you know, American textbooks. And I would love to like, you know, have more collaboration with other orgs like Mecha and such to really share like the intersectionalities of our struggles, as well as just deepen our understanding and how like, you know, community really builds us more power rather than like, you know, the suppressors.
Yeah. And then your last question is, how do you hope to grow? What do you hope to gain from this experience?
I hope to grow learning more about everyone in this space, because, you know, from, you know, my own perspective, I only know more about myself. Yeah, like, I really want to challenge myself to deepen my understanding with people that I don't really interact with, or if they have really opposing ideas, and like, you know, just like have like genuine conversations and such, as well as build like my political presence in KP to better understand like why I'm doing this, how am I going to do this, and as well as like have a support system as well, and definitely just, you know, better my understanding and having more open mind, even if like, you know, there's like arguments and like miscommunication. I really want to like grow more about taking initiative, as well as just seeing like, oh, what can I do better, and like better receive criticism, constructive criticism, because I know I'm not that good at receiving it yet. Like I want to build more of that tolerance, as well as like, you know, just improving myself from the feedback that I receive, and also just, you know, gain like long-term friendships as well outside of like KP, as well as like, you know, beyond graduating, and like see like how we can obviously network with each other and definitely build like more of a community, even if it like, doesn't involve us within UCSD, and just collaborating amongst each other, because I really like being surrounded by creative minds, and they really bring out the most of my ideas, as well as, you know, working our way, compromising, and really being inclusive to each other's ideas as well.
Yeah. Well, that is the end of the 5 questions. We have 2 minutes.
Do you have any
left.
questions?
Yes.
Questions for y'all?
Yeah.
I mean, how are y'all?
Now, hold on.
Oh, do you want to unpack that?